Hello and welcome to Gang Culture Podcast, a series educating you about gang culture. This season, our host Ellis Rouse continues to talk with an array of unique voices to inspire, empower, and cause change. But also this season, we are exploring alternative activities being offered to teens in Delaware. Whether you are listening at home, school, or on the way to work, we hope you enjoy and share with others.
Welcome to Gang Culture. This week our guest is Bashawn Dixon, who is a statewide family court liaison supervisor. For the last 25 plus years, Bashawn has worked with youth and juvenile justice facilities. He has worked hands-on with at-risk youth, as well as families who are involved in criminal behavior, including, but not limited to, gang violence. We are honored to have him with us today. Thanks for joining us, Bashawn.
Appreciate that. Thanks a lot, Ellis.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So you worked in juvenile justice, specifically in level 4 and 5 facilities.
Correct.
What exactly does that mean, and what are some examples of what would send a youth to level 4 or level 5 facility?
Awesome. Great question. I appreciate that, Ellis. So working in the juvenile justice system, particularly in those level 4 and level 5 facilities, consists of actually almost like living with the young men that are in the system that have made poor choices from a criminal perspective. You spend Christmases with them, Thanksgivings with them, New Year's, birthdays, their families' birthdays. You're even in there with them when they receive bad news, a loss of a family member. You soak up their emotions. You're there for them emotionally, but also you there to hold them accountable. During the period of time of being in those facilities, you're teaching them skills. You're teaching them structure. In the community, we know these kids are not accustomed to structure because they see dysfunction in the home. They don't see the structure inside of the household. So when they get into a facility, they wake up at a certain time, they eat breakfast, they make their bed a certain way. They have to have like a dollar fold at the end of their bed. Their sneakers need to be aligned. We teach them the importance about hygiene. We teach them importance about building a resume, bank account, checking account. But then also we talk about and adhere to their treatment needs. Because as we all know, mental health has gotten really big in Delaware. And a lot of the crimes that these kids are committing are trauma-based from what they saw or things that they've happened to them. So with that being said, there is a treatment component in these facilities as well, where they meet with psychologists, they meet with counselors, but then also they meet with us as staff to talk about our life experience as well, without getting personal, obviously, but giving them an understanding that it's okay to make mistakes, but we're going to give you some tools and we're going to give you the image of success and share with you some of the things that we've been through, so that way you can have hope. Because a lot of these kids that are in there, they're facing multiple years, 10, 15, 20 years for heinous crimes. So we don't want their confidence level, it's already down, but we want to build their confidence up. So just being in those facilities was just really an experience to really empower and to really allow these kids to grow. But then also we grew as staff, we grew as parents, because these are the type of things that when you're meeting with these kids and working with these kids, you can use some of these skills as parents, because they were no older and not that older compared to the kids we had. So pretty much that whole experience is what that entails.
You touched on a lot there, and one of the things that stood out to me is confidence.
Yeah.
I worked with juvenile for a very long time, and my contribution was to help them build confidence.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I would have them work on their body.
Yes.
And one of the things I would always preach is mind, body, and soul.
Absolutely.
Work on your mind, work on your spirit.
Yeah.
Because that's what we need when we go out there and we're faced with certain challenges.
Absolutely.
And we don't know what to do.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate what you just shared.
Yeah.
And also you're talking about discipline.
Yeah.
Where they have not seen that before. Mm-mm. You mentioned that, in the home there's been trauma. So where do they see this discipline?
Well, the discipline that they see is, it can be twofold, right? So they see the discipline of their parents cracking down on them, right? You're going to do it my way. This is what I'm telling you to do. But a lot of parents really may not even realize, are they capable of doing it? Because you have some of these kids that have cognitive dysfunctions. You have some of these kids that when they were born, their parents had alcohol issues, drug issues. So automatically when these kids are being born, they're at a disadvantage mentally, IQ-wise. You know, I've worked with kids that are 17 years old that read on a second grade level. You know, that's embarrassing. Yeah. You know, and when you do that around other peers in these facilities and you get made fun of and you get bullied, now you go in defense mode. Now you're angry. Now you're ready to fight. Now you're ready to protect your integrity, your pride, your ego. Ego is one of the biggest things that these kids are living on nowadays. And as grown men, it's tough for us to hold down the ego and put that aside. But when it comes to being disciplined, that's what it is. You got to be able to kind of like tell your ego, nah, not today. Mm-hmm. Your frustration, not today. Your stubbornness, not today. Mm-hmm. But it takes discipline. Yeah. It takes discipline to do that. And the discipline that these parents are doing is the discipline from the 70s, the 80s, how they were raised in discipline. They're not open-minded. They have to be creative with their discipline, and they're not. So then a lot of times these kids get their discipline from where? The streets, the gangs, the brotherhood, the loyalty. Because I guarantee you got more kids that are listening to their peers in the street than they're listening to their parents. Correct. Because my parents don't understand me, but my brother does, because we're relatable. Mm-hmm. His parents is just like mine. Mm-hmm. His household looks just like mine. Mm-hmm. So that's where that discipline comes in at. That's what it looks like. Yeah. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you have kids that are open to discipline, but you ask a kid, can you be disciplined like this? Are you capable of doing this? Get the kid's opinion. He'll tell you, I can do it or I can't. Mm-hmm. And then you tell them the incentive. If you're disciplined for this amount of time, this can be your results. You can lose 10 pounds and get bulky and build up 15 pounds of muscle because you went away with the sweets. Mm-hmm. And now you're on the football field scoring 80-yard touchdowns and getting 10 tackles a game. Mm-hmm. Because you were disciplined. Look at the reward. Now you got a football scholarship. Now you got a nil. Now you got your family set for life. Because you just made a $3 million nil your first year in college. So that's what that discipline looks like.
What are some examples of what would send a youth to a level 4 and level 5?
Excellent question. Level 5 is the maximum level of security. At level 5, you have the kids that have the most egregious and heinous crimes. I worked in a facility called Ferris School, and I worked in a facility called Newcastle County Detention Center. Those were both level 5 facilities where the kids cannot go out in the community at all. There's no transitional component of moving back into the community. Pretty much those are facilities where they are addressing your serious issues, whether if it's drug selling, whether if it's assaultive behavior, whether if it's poor peer interaction, whether if it's dysfunction. Anything that's a barrier that's not allowing you to succeed is being addressed in those facilities. But you're also mixing kids with the most dangerous kids in society. So there's a lot of things that go into that with security. You got kids that are rival gang members, they're ops. You got kids that previously had beef. If you and I were in the facility and I shot at you last week, we're on the same tier. And the staff may not even know that. So it's important for the staff to do their research. If they don't do their research, you might have a situation where a kid stabs another kid on another tier, on another pod, but it could have been avoided. Mm-hmm. So it looks like a lot of young men that are in kind of like a box that have so many different issues going on and have done so many different crimes, and egos are everywhere. Pride is everywhere. Respect is everywhere. And they will do anything to protect their ego, their pride, and to have respect. Like, I'm the man. Mm-hmm. You ain't going to disrespect me, because if you do, you're going to have problems. Yeah. That's what that looks like. And I was in the milieu of it. Some examples that can get kids to those facilities are murder, attempted robbery, conspiracy, first degree, any type of high-level felony, felony A, felony B, felony C. We're talking about high-tier felonies. A series of misdemeanors can get you there. High-level misdemeanors. Misdemeanor A's and B's. If you got 20 in a course of 6 months, that can get you there. Because the way juvenile justice views that is, you're dangerous you're not making appropriate decisions that's going to jeopardize your life, and it's going to jeopardize other people's lives. So we're going to contain you in a place where it's going to be structure. We're going to feed you structure every single day until you come out and it's like, man, it's repetitive. And what do our kids learn how to do when they're getting things repetitive, learned behavior? It's ingrained in them. Just like if you and I was doing 2-a-days at football and we're constantly every day working at it, our skill set's going to be sharp. It's like iron sharpening iron. So that's kind of what it looked like in those facilities with a whole bunch of staff that were really trying to elevate and build. But safety and security is an issue, and then also egos, prides. But then you have some kids that want to change. Mm-hmm. They do. They want to change, but they just don't have that right environment, and they don't have that engine and that battery in their pack.
Yeah. And you mentioned pride. A couple of times, and ego. Now we're dealing with social media. So
wow,
when you have that integrated in all of it, it's like it's really like a storm.
It is
for these young people.
It is. Absolutely, you're right.
Now, what do you suggest when it comes to like social media with young people?
Yeah, social media is very dangerous, but also can be positive. It also could be an outlet to create good content and good positivity. It's really about you having to not worry about how you look. You have to be confident in what you do. You have to have a certain mindset where it's like, yeah, I want to feed the masses, but I don't want to compromise myself, my integrity, my morals. See, a lot of these kids now with social media, there's a lot of followers. There's not a lot of trendsetters. They look at trends and then they jump on those trends, good or bad. And it's about likes. I got to be liked. I got to be accepted. That's what social media is all about right now. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, you have to be able to identify, before you really dive into social media a lot, you have to really identify what your talent, what your skill set is that's God-given. Something that is ingrained in your soul. You spoke about working from the inside out. A lot of these kids with social media are working from the outside in. It's materialistic things. It's repping my hood. It's having the best cars, sneakers. It's about looking at the women on social media. Oh, I want an IG girl. Look at her, long hair, pretty, this and that. It's about boasting and flossing and flexing. That has nothing to do with your talent that you have ingrained in you. Mm-hmm. That word career is going out the window. A lot of times there are kids that are walking on this earth that haven't found themselves, and they may never find themselves. Mm-hmm. So they're trying to find identity. So with social media, my advice is find out what your identity is. Believe in your identity. And make sure that your identity is something that you love, and it's not going to compromise your character, your integrity, and it's not going to put you behind bars. And water that. And be around like-minded people that's going to elevate you and build confidence in you and be in your ear and say, man, keep going, keep going. You got to surround yourself with those people. Not the people that's like, man, you corny for that, man. You need to come on the block and get this money because that's whack. That's corny. Why? So I can see two people drive through the block and come around that third time and light me up with a drive-by shooting because I'm hanging with you because you got beef? You got to understand what your purpose is in life. That's it. Once you do that, that's the biggest foundation that you're going to build off of before you dive into social media, man.
Yeah. And you talked about having like-minded people around.
Yeah.
We know the term misery loves company.
Absolutely.
And
crabs in a bucket, right?
Yeah. People can see you coming up and they can say, you know what? I don't know if I like it, and may hang with you just to try to bring you down.
That's right. Yeah.
So finding like-minded individuals
it's important.
is so important.
It's so important, man.
Yeah.
It's very important. That village is important.
Yeah.
Because you got a lot of people that are envious of you, and that envy can turn into hate.
Yeah.
You think you better than me?
Yes.
You think you got a way out? You think I'm trapped?
Mm-hmm.
You ain't nothing but a loser just like me, bruh. Misery loves company. No one wants to be alienated and feel alone. If you feel better when you got somebody that's just like you by your side.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening out here in the community.
Yep.
With our kids.
Correct. Yep. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
What, in your opinion, are some of the reasons a youth might be compelled to join a gang?
Family dysfunction. Lack of trust with people because their trust has been violated. No siblings, being the only child. Feeling alone. People have turned their back on them. Their parents aren't relatable to them. They talk about hip-hop and music or certain things they love, and the mom and dad has no clue about what that is and don't even care to just dive in and study. Because as parents, we got to do homework too on what our kids like. Because that way, how are we going to water their seed? But when you go out into the community and you meet some of your boys that are relatable to you, they talk about music and they say, yo, bro, that's fire. That's fire, bro. Yo, you spitting bars. You got some talent. That kid is going to be is not going to be reluctant. He's going to be more prone to be a part of that gang because he's got someone that is confident in him. That's buy-in. It's no money. You're affecting that kid's soul, his spirit, through emotional communication. You telling the kid, you're great, you're amazing. That's dope, bro. Yo, man, you got good vibes, man. That's how usually the method that when people go in the gates, yo, we're your father now, we're your brother. We're your family. Anybody mess with you, I'm going to protect you. That's what's supposed to be going on in the household. The father's supposed to be protected. The mother, believe it or not, supposed to be protected. We're going to nurture you. Because not only are males in gangs, females too. As a female, as a mother, that's an OG mother, I got you. I'll braid your hair. Mom can't braid your hair, I'll do it. You need food? We got you. Those are the things that a kid looks at with a gang. It's like, oh man, I'm loyal to y'all. Look what you've done for me. My own family wasn't able to do that. My relatives wasn't able to do that. And y'all took me in and did that? Do you know what that does to a kid psychologically? Here's a pair of brand new Jordans because you got holes in your sneakers, man. You got calluses. You got all types of sores on your feet. So there are some aspects of why kids join gangs. Those are some major components, psychological, but then also protection. They had a beef after school. Somebody after me. We got you. You ain't got to worry about that. Your life is not in jeopardy when you with us. So those are just some examples, man, of just, you can understand that anybody under those circumstances, me, you, any person in this room that are really down and out and don't have a relationship with their higher power, we would go to that gang if they gave us an opportunity to be able to survive. It's either you drown or you survive. And that's what these kids are dealing with. So from a logic perspective, it makes sense. It makes sense. And that's what a lot of people have to understand. They don't just say, oh, you're a part of a gang, you're negative. Look at what this kid has been through, man. Honestly, this gang saved his life.
Yeah. I always talk about my journey. And growing up in Brooklyn, New York, there was a crack epidemic.
Big time.
In my era, in the 90s. And I watched my neighborhood go from us being able to play outside with the football, throw the football, to we couldn't do that because there might be a shootout. And we didn't know what it was about.
Block parties too, right? The
Yes.
block parties.
Yeah, yeah. So when gangs came into my neighborhood, like friends of mine went to prison, and when they learned more about gangs and they came back home and they seen what was going on, they started to recruit us. And it looked good to me because I wanted my neighborhood back. You talked about protection.
Yeah.
And I knew I couldn't face those drug dealers by myself. And the drug dealers actually were afraid of the gang members.
Yeah.
If not afraid, they respected them.
Yeah.
So I got attracted to it. Mm-hmm. But the difference is what you mentioned, my home.
Yeah.
My mom, she said to me, if this is what you're going to do or want to do, I need to meet them.
Wow.
I need to meet the top guy.
That's powerful.
And I need to meet all of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my initiation was bringing them to her. And she had to approve.
Wow.
And she spoke of the love that she has for her son.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was protected because she protected me.
Yeah.
And she showed them what that protection looks like.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to share that. I've shared it before, but I wanted to share that because there's mothers out there
absolutely
that may be dealing with this.
Absolutely.
And you mentioned sometimes there's youth that they just don't have the understanding at home.
That's it.
You know, my mom, she's from Panama.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't understand what was going on that corner, and you know, or could do anything about it. Let's just say that.
Absolutely.
She probably did understand, but she couldn't do anything.
Right.
So
yeah,
me as the oldest son,
mm-hmm.
I felt like I had to do something.
Wow.
About it. And then I had younger siblings.
Yeah.
And you know, I know that there's that dynamic out there. I went through it, and I know others are going through it.
Absolutely.
So I share that. And when you shared, you know, having a home,
yeah,
is so vital, because even though I made that decision, I was protected because my home protected me first.
Absolutely.
You know,
I grew up in Long Island, and around the time that I grew up, movies like Goodfellas, Bronx Tale, you know, Carlito's Way, and a lot of those movies that I'm sure you grew up on those movies as well, being from New York, dealt with mafia, which is a gang type of organization.
yeah.
And if you look at the movie A Bronx Tale, when he found out his son wasn't going to school and he snapped out. Mm-hmm. But he felt like his parents didn't understand him. Mm-hmm. But the protection element, getting money because your parents wasn't able to, it was so attractive. And it didn't just happen when you were younger. You grew into that. When you became an adult, they took care of you for a lifetime until the wheels fall off the track in certain circumstances. Because with gang culture, anything can happen. Everybody has to hold themselves accountable. One person that doesn't hold themselves accountable can mess up the whole infrastructure. And there's got to be some realignment from the head people. But those movies taught me a lot. You know, growing up in Brooklyn, similar to you, the crack era, the 80s, I was born in 78. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times we saw these things and it was like, you had to be with a crew. You had to. So it's deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you could send a message to anyone who's lost a loved one or simply been affected by gang violence, what would it be?
One of the biggest things that I really tell people now, regardless of what age, is tap into your inner spirit. You know, a lot of people are very conscious about religion. Religion. When you're talking about your inner spirit and your inner soul, it's about your identity. Educate yourself about you. Educate yourself about you. Don't listen to critics. Don't listen to people that are judgmental with you. Look in the mirror and write down things you like to do. Write down things that you're good at. Write down your flaws. Write down your previous experiences over the past 6 months, 3 months, good or bad. And do certain things to water those seeds within you. And one of the biggest things is really having mentors around you that are aligned with the things that are about you. Don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. When you become comfortable, you become stagnant. You don't elevate your skill set. You don't sharpen your iron. You just settle. And in life, with the times that we're in, with the speed of time constantly, 2026, 2027 will be here, 2028, the world is moving at a speed that's unbelievable. it's 24 hours in a day, and it goes by like it's 5 hours. So with that being said, it's important for you to utilize your time wisely, but surround yourself with like-minded people and watch out for toxicity. Your awareness level needs to be high. Don't just use your 2 eyes and your 2 ears. Use your 3rd eye. A lot of young men don't realize that awareness is important. I always use this analogy, and this is a spiritual type of religious thing, but you have the devil on your left shoulder. You've seen it in cartoons, and then you got the angel on your right shoulder. And they're talking to you in both ear, and you're in the middle. That devil's going to say, yo, go rob that store. You're broke. You have no money. The angel say, if you go in there and rob that store, you're going to go to jail for 10 to 15 years where you're not even going to be around civilization. And you might get shot because that person at the bodega or at the dollar store may have a gun underneath the counter. You might get killed. And in that register, it might be only $20 in there. You got to listen to those things. The bad is good. You knowing the bad and hearing the bad is good, because that's where the lessons come in at. They're not losses, they're lessons. It's in the mind. Your mindset has to be, these aren't losses, these are lessons. Take the lessons. My advice is take the lessons out of all of your experiences, but know who you are, because you are your best asset.
That's strong. Knowing who you are is really what helped me survive. I knew who I was.
Yeah.
I knew I wasn't a gangster. I knew that I wasn't afraid, but I also didn't have to prove anything.
That's right.
You know, so that's a big thing.
Yeah,
Know
big
who
time.
you are.
Major.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bashawn, if I could have our listeners with one major take away from our conversation, what would it be?
Life is precious, man. Life is precious. We only have one. You only have one life. The time that we have on earth, there is an expiration date for all of us. Everybody that's in civilization right now, the listeners, the people that may see this, you have one life. It can be gone tomorrow. It can be gone today. When you think about that in perspective, every move you make from the time you open up your eyes is crucial. Every move. And the thing about it is you can't get back the time. We don't have time machines. So you have to make sure that the moves that you make are strategic, are wise, and it's okay to be a risk taker sometime because you're stepping out of your comfort zone. You're never going to know what's behind the door unless you open it. Remember, if it's something negative behind that door, it's a lesson. It's not a loss. But it's important for you to utilize, for all the listeners out there, it's important for you to utilize every hour of the day, every minute of the day to better yourself. Because ultimately, when you're at your highest level, I promise you, through your talents, through your skills, through your ambition, through your integrity, through your wisdom, you're going to impact somebody, whether if it's your son, your daughter, your relatives, your family, a peer, somebody at your job, an employee. You're impacting someone. And when you impact someone, you will be blessed from a spiritual level, from an energy level. You will be blessed because when you do good, you get good. When you live by the gun, you tend to die by it. So just walk that line. You're going to make mistakes. Lessons. Take the lessons and don't be afraid to make mistakes because we're human. Have grace on yourself as well. Grace is important. Don't be so hard on yourself. Don't add pressure to yourself. There's enough pressure that we're living day in and day out. Remember, be around those people that's going to elevate you. If they're not elevating you and they're Debbie Downers, get out of there immediately. It's not good for your spirit or your soul. That's what I would want to tell listeners.
Bashawn, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Appreciate it, man.
I really appreciate that insight and that wisdom that you share with our listeners.
You too,
And
Ellis.
I hope we are able to travel and do some things together.
Absolutely.
Thank
I appreciate you, Ellis. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
We hope you found this episode informative. We look forward to continuing the conversation and stay tuned for our next episode.
You're listening to a production from The Cause. Learn more at causetheworld.com.